Hey, TE831, and welcome to week 6 of Teaching School Subject Matter with Technology. We are nearing the conclusion of this course, and this week we are talking about going public with our writing and research. In particular, going public with our Remix and Remediate assignment and project. So as always, here's a quick agenda. I'll quickly go over the readings and viewings. Like week 5, week 6 is a little bit of a choose-your-own-adventure topic, and then we'll talk a little bit about practicing research. This is sort of one of the aims of the teacher inquiry cycle that we won't complete together as a course in TE831, given that it's a summer session course and your students are mostly out of school for this session. But it's about taking what we do in this project and coming back with it in the fall and or in the spring and really thinking about what it means to be a techno teacher. We're going to quickly again focus on the Remix and Remediate Reteach assignment, focusing on what research says and talk about the writing time that you should set aside for this week. And then we'll sort of preview this week and the final concluding week of week 7 and beyond. Really pressing you to complete this assignment. It's due on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll talk about some of the peripheral next steps and close out of the 2 final assignments. So last week, we really began thinking about what does research say according to the content area of our choice. From pre-K to physics, we looked at the ways in which technology was mediating instruction to change learning outcomes for students. And I actually have a lot to think about when I read the pre-K and I read the physics and I read sort of, the tinkering with technology for math. It makes me think a lot about technology as play. And I want you to think about that as you sort of leave and exit the course, is how can sort of technology not be about integration and forcing something, but making it visible and considering how technology can be used to re-enliven and really just think about play in our learning spaces. This week we read Beach again, focusing on chapter 11, and you are going to choose 3 free choice articles. These articles, in comparison and in contrast to last week, are not necessarily just in your content area, but are focused about a particular Common Core State standard, an ISTE standard, really thinking about what it is you're doing in the project. Again, just to let you know, that Remix and Remediate project is due Saturday, June 27th, on or before 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are no exceptions to this. It is due at 9 p.m. The grades need to be sort of turned around pretty quickly, so please, please, please get it into me as soon as possible. Last week, we asked ourselves this question: how do we find research on using technology in our subject matter, discipline, or field? And what are some good resources I can tap into? So, of course, because this is sort of my area of expertise, I thought a lot about the selections I chose last week. And this is why I sort of thought about, in this week, shedding light on some of those resources I used. So here it is: NCTM, Teaching Mathematics. These are some of the focal journals in mathematics education. NARST, or JRST for science. For English education and literacy studies, I would choose NCTE, RTE, the journal English Education. And for early childhood, really thinking about NACE, Language Arts, and other sort of journal of early childhood education. And if you teach elementary, I would actually go to the early childhood route, as it's probably more applicable than some of the English ed resources you would find. So, when I think about actually doing this work, I would sort of start with 2 spaces: Google Scholar or MSU Libraries. As students at MSU, you have access to all of the journals that MSU does. That MSU has access to. Libraries.msu.edu is the homepage for the MSU Libraries. If you go to Library Catalog, you can search by keyword for books and or through journal titles. This will help you, as one of your sort of assignments for the week is to let us know the 3 citations on the discussion forum. When we think about closing out TE831, as I sort of have gotten some emails from people being like, okay, Wargo, I was reading the syllabus and there's 2 more things we have to do. Yes, that is correct. The first is an audio reflection on the Remix and Remediate assignment. Now, you may be thinking, what? An audio reflection? As someone who does a lot with multiliteracies and thinking about composing with a myriad of modes, I have found as an educator that sound is something that we take for granted. And often we like to do PowerPoints and we like to do talkovers and we might like to write and type and use print to reflect. But I actually, in this assignment, want you to use sound to reflect on the Remix and Remediate assignment. So if I'm sort of, thinking about, if I'm, a student like James, and I'm using a e-binder instead of a portfolio, what does it sound like to not sort of use a old school binder? Well, I could sort of think about like paper being tore up, or the digital, click and swipe and tap of e-binder tool that he would use to create these, sort of digital portfolios for his early elementary students. This assignment is about sound. Yes, you can use visuals, and yes, you can even include a couple sort of elements of text, but really it's about making a stream, a soundscape that helps me think about your own reflection. I'll read this, and by read I mean listen to, in conjunction with your Techno Manifesto. So this final reflection is a 3 to 4 page double-spaced reflection, just sort of letting me sort of hear what you learned about doing this sort of teacher inquiry in TE 831, what you learned about using technology in the course, and how sort of you are reflecting through the soundscape on the larger project and assignment. These are pretty sort of easy and basic assignments. You may have some more difficulty thinking about the video, or not video, the audio soundscape. I have included additional resources there and places to go to find sound if you're not as familiar, but really sort of the Techno Manifesto is a pretty status quo reflection that you would do for a lot of your MATC coursework. So in turning in your work, some of you have also asked me about this. If you go to our D2L site, click on drop boxes, turn in assignments here, you'll see that the Remix Remediate project, as well as the Soundscapes audio reflection and Techno Literacies reflection, those drop boxes are up. Please feel free to turn in those assignments as you complete them. I will be looking at them from here until July 3rd, which is when the summer session 1 ends. As always, if you have questions, contact me at wargojohn@msu.edu. You could follow me on Twitter at wargojohn. For those of you who have either texted, called, Google Hangout, or Skyped, it's been amazing, amazing to chat and to talk with you. I wish, unfortunately, that many more had reached out, as I think I only got really to know 7 or 8 of you really well, just given sort of the work that we've done collaboratively together over the phone or on Google Hangout. But I look forward to hearing and viewing and seeing and watching and listening to all that you accomplish in the course. And like I said, if you have any questions, please holler at me. Thanks, and have a wonderful week.